Hi everyone, I'm Jude, the goddess astrologer and alchemical initiatrix. Welcome to this episode of the full moon video for this month, which is an eclipse. So it's a Taurus lunar eclipse, and it is on the heels of this new moon solar eclipse that we had in Scorpio 2 weeks ago. So this falls on election day in the US. It falls across massive swaths of the world. This is a really important time. The Taurus Scorpio axis is about wealth and money and power, and it's about personal power, and it's about initiations, which we've really widely been an uninitiated people in humanity for a very long time due to the patriarchy and that paradigm, due to this toxic Mars, this toxic masculinity that has been trying to dominate and power over and control this suppressed feminine within. This isn't a conversation about men and women. This is about within humanity, the suppression of the feminine and the stuffing down of the feminine values. And like the story of goddess Oshun, nothing works without the sweet water, without the feminine. And this Scorpio season is really powerful season. It's Scorpio's fixed water. And on Pluto, one of the rulers of Scorpio, one of the associated planets, and then of course there's Mars. On Pluto, there is a heart-shaped iceberg. So fixed water, iceberg, solid ice, that response to crises, that response to trauma, to freeze, fight or flight, PTSD symptoms, and the heart shape, that because like when we're broken down and when we allow ourselves to break down, to be the caterpillar, to be completely metamorphosed, to be morphed, but broken down completely, and we break down, then we gain humility, we gain compassion, we gain understanding. Going through the full transformation of our emotions is what gives us that understanding of what we needed, the messages, because our emotions are the language of our soul. And it's something that humanity's been suppressing for a really long time. And without emotions, we can't do anything, and nothing works because it's not true. It's not authentic. And that Scorpio is all about authenticity. It's about getting to the Pluto energy, is about getting to the real of the real, getting to the depths of authenticity. And Pluto being that higher octave of Mars about complete authenticity and autonomy and sovereignty, right? About the individual and freedom and independence. And there's this, the thing about Scorpio season is that, it's possession. It is Neptune is longing, and we have this Mars, the ruler of one of the rulers of Scorpio season at the moment, square Neptune, and Neptune is longing and yearning and that wistful feeling. And so it's this possession and longing. And how is that working in your life? And what are you doing with those emotions? Do you have something to do? Do you know what to do with them? Are you just simply longing and turning that into an idealization that ends up being a detriment to your life? Are you trying to possess another? Are you not listening to what the reality is and being willing to be broken down and broken open and to break through, to completely morph into something completely different? Because it doesn't matter anymore. Like when we're in crisis, it really makes what's important really clear, because other things just don't matter anymore. And that's what Scorpio is about. It's about crisis, it's about conflict. It's a deep, psychodrama. It's like the drama and the melodrama. But the thing is that if we go into the raw, real soup of what is the darkness, what's really there, then we don't have the melodrama, because we don't have this this drama trying to take over our lives because we're going into the darkness and what wants to be seen from us. Scorpio is the passion and the mystery, the initiations into the deep, and surrendering your need for survival and letting it take you if you dare. But that's the Pluto, the underworld, the deep underneath, which has been called hell by religion that's wanted to control humanity for thousands of years, suppressing. There are no deities. The God devil mythos is a mythos, and it was to help humanity understand shadow and light and understand, but then it was turned into something that was supposedly real. There are no deities. There's the multiverse, there's consciousness, there's energy, and we're not lost without those mythos, those stories, thinking that they're real. We're actually so much more found because we find ourselves to be in a state of personal power. The solar plexus chakra, all of the lower three, really, the sacral chakra and the root chakra. And that root chakra is like really Aries, and that sacral chakra is really Scorpio. And that solar plexus chakra is that personal power of Pluto, that the transformation transforms the hell, the darkness within, into your personal power, that without your own power, that you're simply in the darkness for no reason, that there's no gift, there's no treasure, there's no rebirth, there's no something important. The transformation is what's missing. And so with this eclipse, I'm going to share the chart with you. I hope you all are doing amazing. I hope you're really digging these videos. And if you like these videos, please like them. It helps with metrics. This is a growing channel, and you can find this channel a lot more easily by going to YouTube at The Goddess Astrologer, henceforth. It's this deep energy. So this moon, this full moons are an illumination, a bright illuminating. It's a peak in the moon cycle, a peak from that new moon where we went through the balsamic phase before the dark phase of breakdown, everything breaking down, and the challenge often that is really there in that balsamic phase. And then the new moon period, which was the last Scorpio eclipse. Eclipses cut things away, that it's endings, it's change, and it's dramatic often. And it can be literal deaths, dying, endings of relationships. And of course, that eclipse was conjunct Venus. And Venus conjunct the sun right before that eclipse, a couple of days, with Saturn turning direct. So it's like, okay, relationships are connecting with our solar fuel, our purpose, and getting an awakening of what needs to transform, shift, die, what's no longer serving us, what's no longer allowing us to grow anymore. And then bam, the eclipse happened. We're just going to wipe things out, cut things away. Things are going to change. You think it's this way, now it's going this way. And then Saturn was direct right before that as well, where it's like humanity is now moving forward. We've been living the distorted Saturn in society for a really, really long time. So what is Saturn? Saturn's our inner authority. Saturn is so many things. Saturn is holding space. But what we've done in society for a really long time is had Saturn be like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. You got to do it all on your own, which is not true. No matter how independent someone is or a business is, there are power lines running everywhere, electricity, there is internet cables running underneath the earth and across the oceans. There is so much help, and no one actually does it alone. Everyone's got the trust fund, or the relative that gave them the loan, or the person that helped them out, or the moral support, or the kindnesses. And so it's the rare, it's you know, this kind of false myth in the culture of this John Wayne vibe of, you know, do it all yourself. And it's really done a detriment to society. And it's made people really, particularly women, skewed in productivity, skewed towards productivity focused, destination focused. That's the distorted Saturn. Saturn is actually the banks of the river that hold the water in place so that there is a river there. And you can fish and you can get from one place to another more quickly. You can have fun, you can bathe, you can drink. But without the banks, the Saturn of the river, then the water flows endlessly, boundlessly into every other place. So we need Saturn, but we need not the distorted Saturn any longer. This time chrono Saturn is this this spell of time that is false. It's an illusion of time. And we talk a lot about time in the spiritual community as an illusion, but I don't think that helps anyone, because it's like, yeah, but I still got to be to work, and I still got to get this done, and I still got to do this. But what it really is coming off of an external driver of what you should be doing when, of what productivity means. I'm having all my clients, almost, it seems like right now, most women I'm talking to, it seems like right now, are redefining productivity and what that means to them, and establishing a new definition for themselves, because the feminine has been devalued, has been dismissed, has been suppressed, has been looked past, discounted. The importance of rest, of creative time, of daydreaming, of that yin time to go within and allow what wants to come up and forward to come out. Channeling is all yin. However, what's funny is that we actually know, even though we've been doing distorted Saturn and it keeps being perpetuated, and, you know, distorted Saturn is control, we know that without daydreams, without imagination, without the genius rising up within, without the epiphany, the aha moment, that nothing gets done. How do you take chocolate? You know, a friend of mine brought this up, and it was so perfect of an example. It's like, how do you look at a cacao bean and be like, yeah, I'm going to get chocolate from that? Hello, I don't, that was epiphanies and experimentation and trying things, and oh, I wonder if I do this, I wonder if I do that curiosity of that Gemini energy. So it's all the signs together working harmoniously. It's all the signs working together in symbiosis. It's not a distorted form of one or the other, because it doesn't work. It doesn't help us. And so this eclipse is in Taurus. And of course, our North Node is in Taurus. The North Node is our evolutionary potentiality for humanity right now. It's going to be moving into Aries next summer, all about sovereignty, individuality, that fierce independence. So it's going to really be about sovereignty. And so what we're doing now with Taurus North Node is we're being asked to really become the resource that creates the value to examine our value system that we've been living by in society and humanity for a really long time, and to realize the creative force of life. We've been really living death. We've been living distorted Pluto, distorted Scorpio, like death, a death culture. And our view of goddess, our view of a deity, our view of a higher power is really indicative of what's going on with the consciousness and where it's at. And this view of punishment, this view of negativity, that you're bad, that there's something wrong with you. People tend to always say, when people are trying to get help or find a solution, it's always like, well, what are you doing wrong? But that's the thing is that's just not true. It's like, what is good about you inside? We've been skewed, we've been controlled, we've been spelled into thinking that we're just inherently bad and that we're always doing the wrong thing, and we need to take massive action because we're just so fucking lazy and we just don't do anything. And that there's so much of it in the culture there's so much of these spells, like massive action, and you got to do something. And it's all this distorted Saturn doing. And it's not that doing is wrong, because the feminine does. How does a child get taken care of? There's a lot of shit that gets done. There's a constant doing. A person with a child knows, you understand that you like never are off, really. And so it's not just a masculine principle doing. It's that the way we've been going about it, it's how we've been thinking about it, it's how it's pushed, it's how it's a control mechanism. That's distorted Saturn control. So Saturn being in Aquarius for so long, which it's going to move out of next March, which is a really big deal when Saturn moves, so it's not frequent, then it's about humanity, it's about evolution, it's about higher consciousness, it's about doing things in a new way for the future. It's about vibe. Aquarius is the two wavy lines. Vibration. Is it a vibe match? Am I doing this Saturn because it's a vibe match, because I feel to do it? That Aries, like, I know my yes, I know my no, that autonomy, that sovereignty. Am I doing it because it's a match to me and what I desire deep from within, not the distorted Saturn, what the overculture says, what your family says, what voices from throughout your life say, what deferring as a woman, deferring to men, and looking to men as an authority or as the voice of in the know. If you're looking to someone else as your source of what to do, and if you're okay, and if you're safe, that tells you everything, that you're in distorted Saturn and living distorted Saturn. If you don't do your own authority, someone will be there to do your authority and to claim that they're the authority over you and that they're your source and they know what you should do when, and if you're safe or not, and to look to them, and they'll project fear onto you. And fear is a mechanism of control. So it's really important to look at how we have the sun in the Scorpio season. So we're going through this Taurus eclipse during Scorpio season, during the season of rebirth, transformation, death, initiation. And we're a people that's largely uninitiated for the most part, unless we go seek it ourselves. And that's so much of what we're changing in this world. It's like we're turning into an initiated people. We're turning into a people going into the deep depths, unafraid of the shadow, unafraid of the so-called hell realms, which is our darkness, which really isn't anything to be afraid of. It's actually where you meet with the truth of your soul, the truth of Taurus, your resourcefulness of everything. When there's nothing else left, not only do you know what's important now, well, Taurus, when I'm tired, I sleep, when I'm hungry, I eat, but also, just makes everything, just brings that acute clarity. But also it's realizing how resourceful you actually are. Uranus, which is inventiveness, innovation, creativeness that comes from restraint. And so Uranus being in fixed earth, being in a, this kind of restraint in a way, is breaking up these old ways that we thought that we were stuck in fixed earth, that we weren't ideas about how to live life, saving versus responding in the moment and creating what we need as we need it, instead of like saving and canning and freezing. And the way we've done agriculture, taking Pluto, Scorpio, old dead fossils out of the earth and mining the earth for these, scorpionic things to then make food last for months and years, when we know like a Twinkie has like no nutrients in it, and in like a French fry, like it'll still be underneath your car seat 2 years later looking exactly the same. It doesn't break down, Scorpio. So something that doesn't break down, can it truly be food for your soul? Can it truly be food for your body in all of the ways? And we have like everything breaks down and decays to give the fertilizer to the birthing of the new fresh plant, that Taurus energy. So this full moon in Taurus exactly conjunct Uranus by degree, not by minute, but by degree, exact 16 degrees. It's so fascinating because it's it's talking about the future. Uranus is the future. Uranus is, and we've had this Uranus-Saturn square, Saturn being the past, the way things were. And of course, we've been doing Saturn distorted. And this full moon, this illumination, awakening, and then Uranus awakening. So this double awakening about the future, about new Earth, Uranus in Taurus, about the higher realms, the third eye, your knowing, your connection to the galactics, to all that is, to the multiverse, to expanding consciousness, which is Uranus. And so this is like an illumination of consciousness. This is a greater epiphanies and insights, unpredictability in a way that incites and provokes new things, because and usually unpredictability doesn't come out of the oblivion. It comes out of well, I guess rather it doesn't come out of the blue. It comes out of your own oblivion, your own obliviousness, that you're being obtuse and you're not willing to see, you're not seeing, you're stuck, fixed earth, right, in some old pattern, in some old way of being, and a resistance to change, Uranus. And then Uranus comes along and strikes the lightning and says, no, we're done, we're moving this forward. And so with Mercury being in Scorpio, you know, there's gonna not necessarily be words for everything that we're feeling. Mercury and Scorpio can be like really sharp and to the point, or it can just be mute and not really speaking about anything it's feeling or going through. And it's, you know, Scorpio shares with, you know, there's it's like a secret and a mystery to who Scorpio shares with. And it's about feeling, and it's about something that's nonverbal deep within. And then that conjunction, you know, that stellium of the Venus and the Sun and Mercury all in Scorpio, about this deep initiation into transformed relationships based on our own personal power, because Scorpio, that Pluto energy, is about our personal power. And with Pluto being in Capricorn, it's been changing everything about the systems, agriculture, government, corporations, everything that's Capricornian ruled, which is all the big systems of society and how our world works, right? Capricorn. And it's been destroying, dismantling, breaking down, giving insights, giving deaths, giving transformations, giving rebirths. And there's been so much that's been created over this last you know, this last like maybe 14 years or so, that's been, and just in the last couple of years, people are making amazing things that are for the people, that are made by the people, by coalitions, by groups of people. We're making the new world and the new reality in and around the old system, the old paradigm, the patriarchal system, all of the old, and it's being dismantled because it's not functioning anymore. It's not working. It's not gonna work because too many people are awakening and arising and rising and changing things. Even a lot of people that aren't necessarily so spiritually raising in their consciousness, they're raising consciousness in other ways. They're awakening in other ways. They're simply maybe awakening to how they like to do work, awakening to how they like to do their food, awakening to where they like to live. That's just a really different way, which is changing the world as a whole, because people are no longer doing things the old way. They're not happy with it anymore. And they're waking up to the deep unhappiness of what has been, which is that Scorpio waking up to the darkness. Because one of the things about Scorpio is that, you know, the transformation is that ice, you know, it's fixed water. So it's that ice, it's that like frozen up emotions, frozen up places that last forever until finally they're broken up and that water transforms into vapor or liquid, and things can finally move and the transformation happens and the phoenix can finally rise, but there must be ashes. And it's like not being afraid of being broken down, because it's really not the dark night of the soul. It's really the dark night of the personality, of the ego. And we are not meant to hold on to these different egos that we have incarnation after incarnation. They're just for this one time. And really, if we got fun with it, we could self-modify and change constantly and be different people and different experiences of our own personality and our own ego, not necessarily at such a fundamental being a completely different character, so to speak, but maybe to enough of a degree to play around with this whole living thing called life. But so many people are like, there's a right way. And that's one of the ways we got so deeply stuck with Pluto, is like, oh, there's a right way. So many people are trying to do what we're going to really be going through next summer when the nodes change into Libra and Aries. We're going to have the South Node in Libra. We're going to be really dealing with this right way thing. Libra is about optics, about propriety. It's Saturn is exalted there. It's about, you know, how things look, and is it appropriate? Is it proper? And we're dealing with elements of that now, preparing for the time to come. And we can use this time to really to be on the leading edge of creation and awakening in our own consciousness and what we want to create and what we're making in this world, and joy and fun and this amazing life. And so this Pluto energy with these quintiles to Venus and the Sun and Mercury, it's this energy of flow between the rebirthing process, the transformation process, the changing of big systems and how that might affect you individually. You know, we're dealing with inflation, we're dealing with so many things that no matter how much you're in your own reality, there are some tangible world things. We're on this earthly plane. There are some things that you are just going to be part of our life, right? And so there's so much flow between our relationship to all of that, and our relationships and our money, and creating beauty on this earth and how important that is. And there's a transformation of beauty. There's a transformation of valuing Taurus, Venus, beauty, which raises consciousness. We've scientifically proven that beauty raises consciousness. Our ancestors understood the practicality of beauty. You can see it just in our world when you look at neighborhoods that are very low income, and they're not made with love, they're not made with beauty, they're not kept up, and it feels very, you know, the neighborhood feels very unloved, uncared about. There's so much unlove that we are dismantling the old ways. And Taurus is very much that divine feminine, that love. And so it's like this Uranus, like this new love, this innovation to the spirit and heart. And this heart, Pluto, the planet, literally has an iceberg shaped heart. So it's like, what is that heart? It's this, what comes out of this deep transformation is that you meet yourself in a way that you never have before. When you meet yourself in that darkness, the love for yourself, the transformation of humility, not needing to be in that ego, not like understanding the healthy ego versus the wounded, damaged, malicious, psychopathic, psychotic ego. That it's like this healthy ego can just be transformed and broken down and renewed and renewed and renewed. And it's like fun. And when you meet with that darkness, you meet with the depths of yourself in a way that makes self-love bloom in a way that's so, what's the word? It's an experience almost that is hard to put into words, to really, until you've experientially experienced that yourself. And so Scorpio is about fear. Like, do you have fear? And are you in that survival, which is all about the PTSD response of survival and fight or flight or freeze or appease other people that are trying to control you? So Pluto's about, like, and Scorpio is about being controlled and being in your personal power, that at the end of that transformation, you get in touch with your own power, with your own personal power. Are you standing in that? And then with Pluto being the higher octave of Mars, both associated with Scorpio, that Mars is our sovereignty, our independence, our fierce yes or no. Like a lot of times people think Aries are rude, but it's really just a very clear understanding of what I like and what I don't like, who I am. I'm here, I'm taking up space in this world. Like Saturn really is, conscious Saturn is about taking up space in this world. But does that come, or is everything in a symbiosis? Does that come from love? The Leo, like bringing your contributions to the world, is about love, and it's about love for self and love for the interaction of bringing the contribution and someone getting the spark from that, and how all of that just keeps going back and forth, like ping pong or some great game where it's just this constant volley and pleasure and joy and fun. And with Black Moon Lilith in Leo, about bringing the love as you bring your empowerment forward, as you stand in empowerment, as you stand in your sovereignty and your fierce feminine, valuing yourself. But it's like when you value yourself and you stand in your sovereignty and you stand in your power, it's like it gives other people permission to value themselves and an example of what that looks like from a healthy ego, not a psychotic ego. And this Taurus energy is the love and the North Node here to go towards peace, to the transformation of the Scorpio, the transformation of relationships, Venus and Scorpio, the transformation of our personal power, Sun in Scorpio, the transformation of our purpose, of our energy to do anything to exist, Sun in Scorpio, and the transformation of our perceptions and the initiation of a new perception of life, opposite Uranus and Taurus, a new perception of how to live on this earth and what it can be, and bringing the magic, Scorpio, right? So, the magic of our perceptions allows us to create magic. If we perceive it and believe it, then we can create it. And so, the magic of our perceptions, Mercury and Scorpio, the magic of being in that creation space of relationships, of like you and me come together and we create whatever wants to be created. Let this relationship be whatever it is, instead of putting our own agenda onto the relationship, instead letting it evolve and unfold and be this other entity of what it wants to be, which is what Scorpio wants to do, is deeply merge and come together and create something else as transformation. And can we allow that to happen? Which means you must allow your ego to be broken down and not equate that as a diminishing of self, and not equate that with losing something. There's no loss, actually. There's a change in shape, and energy never dies. It's never created, right? It's the law of conservation of energy. And the same with matter, the law of conservation of matter is nothing ever dies, nothing's ever created. It's all just constantly transformed and changing shape. Someone said today, a teacher was quoting someone else that I was listening to that was so good. I was talking about how nothing, you're not like getting rid of anything. The earth is round. And it was just like, I don't know, it's just such a like fun way to say it. And I'm like, oh, I love this. And it's like, the earth is round. You're not really getting rid of anything. Like it just keeps transforming and changing shape. And it's so much what the Scorpio season about, this Taurus. And so for you personally, this eclipse, it's these themes. Taurus is about money. It's about self-worth, self-love, your value system, but it's about what you can create deeply from within yourself, how resourceful you are. For example, if you don't have money for a period of time in your life, you get really resourceful about things, right? If you're so stuck on propriety and what rule book you're supposed to follow, you might not be able get very resourceful. Some examples are just like my grandmother lived through the Depression era, so there was always like rubber bands on the doorknobs. She would take like a piece of saran wrap and put a rubber band around it to make a lid for a Tupperware. Like, I don't need a lid, or I don't even want to go searching in the cabinet for the lid. Like, fuck it, put some saran wrap and a rubber band, and bam, we're good. And it's just like quick, and let's go and let's do this, and let's just like make shit, and let's not be limited. Like the Saturn distortion is limitation, when Saturn's actually supposed to be titration with a reason, for a purpose. And so this Jupiter at 29 degrees Pisces conjunct Neptune. The day that I'm recording this, the moon is going through Pisces right now. It's this deeply emotional time. We're in Scorpio season emotions, so mutable, changeable, watery emotions, and we're in Scorpio season. You know, maybe all the freezing or subconscious emotions are bubbling up. You like might have so many emotions right now that you're just like, how can I have any more emotions in one day? You know, it might really be that kind of energy, but there's a sextile to Pluto during this eclipse that is about this deep communication between what wants to die away, what wants to transform, what wants to change, what wants to be let go of, whether it's, you know, Venus and Scorpio relationships, transformed relationships, endings of relationships, new beginnings too. And whether it's our perceptions, our mindset, and the way we look at the world, all wants to be broken down and transformed. And Jupiter is our belief system. And Jupiter and Pisces not only is it expanding the perception of soul, the beliefs based from soul, the beliefs coming from something higher, from something that has purpose and meaning, and feeds you from your heart, from your soul, not from what you think you have to do, from some rules in society, from what other people say or think, or trying to get approval. Like anywhere where you're trying to get approval in your life, you're going to be smacked really hard. You're going to feel it. It's going to hurt. There's going to be a lot there. Anywhere you're trying to defer to somebody else's authority instead of looking deep within, which is Scorpio and Pluto, and then Jupiter and Pisces. Pisces is the deepest dive into, you know, just going into the depths of the soul. It's near madness and the mystical are such this fine line, two sides of the same coin, just right there, where it's like letting yourself go what you might feel like is mad to be transformed into your magic and bringing that forward, which Pisces and Scorpio are both this magic. And so this is definitely a recalibration of humanity to initiation, to their magic, to what's important, to making things really clear and clearing away everything that is about something that's not actually what's really important, which is getting back to purpose and meaning and soul, getting back to something that's made from the inside, Taurus, something that comes from within you, something that's your own unique Uranus creation of your value that you bring to humanity, which changes humanity, which changes the world, because it's something unique from within you. It's just this, there's just so much happening here that's so beautiful right now. What else do I want to talk about on this eclipse before I go into the sun sign horoscopes, everything? I really wanted to do this video a little bit different than my last one. I felt I had like some ideas for my last video about humanity mastering its Mars, but I ended up going down well-worn roads that just didn't spark me and inspire me. And I don't know, the video is what it is, but I wanted to really bring some spark and some insights for you here and to really encourage you and just make this really fun. This Mars in retrograde for 5 months, you know, including the shadow into March next year. Mercury, especially during this eclipse, but has been in Scorpio, and Mars is in Gemini, and you know, they're in a mutual reception. So Mars is the ruler or associated with Scorpio, and Mercury is associated with Gemini and is at home there. And so it's this deep communication back and forth between them. They're supporting each other. So our perceptions to transform, our reconnection to our own magic and our guides and the multiverse, and to know all that we know and to beyond the beyond, is supported by this deep internal look of Mars. It's like a Mercury retrograde. It's like a going into this deep internal look to like, how are we motivated? And are we motivated from a place that is where we really want to be motivated from as humanity? Are we motivated from our own magic, or are we motivated from overculture's view of the way things should be, some old system, some dying old dinosaur patriarchy bullshit, you know, old men and narcissistic abuse and, you know, psychotic egos that are just trying to control the world. There's this big narcissistic awakening on the planet right now. People are awakening everywhere. They're realizing, I don't have to stay in families because it's family. That's this old world value to control you. Maybe it's just a gestational carrier and these aren't actually my soul family. There's all of these values, Taurus, that are shifting in society. Saturn shifting in humanity right now. Aquarius, Saturn and Aquarius. So society, humanity is shifting society and the value system of society, the Saturn Uranus square. And so our value system is being awakened, provoked, incited, innovated. It's being provoked heavily. Like, are we gonna create a new world based on a value system of sovereign individuals, leaders, people that are no longer finding the dark taboo, and then it completely wiping us out and controlling us because we're not willing to do our own, to go into our own darkness. And so this Mars is this deep inner look at our perceptions, and if we're going to keep coming to the same conclusions and the same mental motivations, or are we going to be motivated from something deeply internal, from some deep transformation, constant transformation of something that comes from soul and heart and purpose, the square to Neptune of Mars? You know, are we going to be motivated, Mars, by deep soul motivations, the square? Are we going to make the choice to come from soul, or are we going to be in that Gemini mind, the distorted Gemini? Because the conscious Gemini is ecstatic, it's excited, it's many ideas, it's curious and exploratory and really playful and fun, which is soul energy. But there's that duality of Mercury, the intuitive mind, and then the mental mind. There is that analytical Virgo aspect of Mercury, which, you know, Gemini is a duality. You can include these components where it's not helpful, you know, and we had some heavy doses of like all of the signs this year. We went through it with Mercury and Venus going through all of them and these conjunctions to the sun in each of the last few signs that we've went through this year during each season of Virgo season and Libra season and now Scorpio season. So it's been really fascinating to have this reworking of those. Virgo, you know, is distorted perfectionism and judgment, but conscious, it's about self-mastery that serves a purpose to something higher, and is coming from that Leo, like, look what I can do, and look what's so fun, and the laughter and the bringing the heart from that vulnerable space, not from this maniacal ego space or the psychotic ego, but from this heart and love and vulnerability, humility, compassion, actual empathy that's felt, somatic empathy, not just conceptual empathy, that is mimicked, and the mimic is Gemini, right? So like Mars and Gemini, it's like we're really understanding where the mimics come in our life, because if we don't do these aspects of our life, then something will come in and mimic it for us. I love the whole isotope example. It's so good that if we don't have certain nutrients like iodine or certain other nutrients, then the radioactive forms, which because of all the bullshit we've done on this planet, you know, are floating around the ocean and the nuclear waste and all the things, then those will come and fill in the gaps within our body and give us the radioactive form of iodine or other things, and be this toxin. And so it'll be this detriment, it'll be this death, this killing. So it's like, do we want to do it purposely and go into the depths, go into the dark, go into our emotions? And do we have the skills for that? And that's the whole thing about emotions, is in we haven't really been initiated. Most people growing up, a lot of us, like, we're getting better and better and better in humanity at feeling emotions, but do we have techniques to release them? Do we know what to do with them? Are we afraid of our own rage? Do we understand sacred rage? Do we understand the power of the transformation of going to the emotion completely? And with Pluto and Capricorn, Capricorn is the resistance and the stoicism and the resistance to emotions and feeling emotions and just stuffing them down. When we don't feel them completely, we don't get the transformation, which is Pluto. And so it's that distorted Capricorn that has not helped humanity for a really long time. So I'm going to go into this eclipse for all 12 signs and do the sun sign horoscopes. I hope this has been really fun. I just keep kind of pondering how to make this fun and better. And I love your comments. I love your likes. If you like these videos and you're really getting value, please go ahead and actually go like the video, please, because it really helps with the metrics, because this is a growing channel. Even though I've done 6 months of daily videos earlier this year, and there's literally hundreds of videos on the channel. There's a lot of shorts I do. There's just some fun videos of different things. I have a show coming out soon that I'm going to be interviewing different people, and there's already so many of them recorded. They're really good, talking about Scorpio themes and initiation. And so there's so much goodness to come. So please help the channel to allow for more people to find it. The whole algorithm thing on YouTube is super fun. It's not really about subscribers. It's more just about if people really enjoy the videos and if that's showing up in the analytics behind the scenes. So if you could like the video, I'd really appreciate it. It helps tremendously. And then if you want to go the extra mile and share it or tell somebody about it, really appreciate it. You can get to the channel super easy now by just going to YouTube at the Goddess Astrologer. All right, y'all. Let's do the sun sign. Sun sign horoscopes. It's raining really hard where I'm living at the moment, and it's amazing, because I don't know, I guess I've had a ton of rain, but just not a lot of thunderstorms. Let me make sure I'm actually sharing this with you, because I've not shared that a lot, and then I'm just like marking up the screen and it doesn't look like anything, and it's super ridiculous. Like, great. Okay. All right, y'all. So I'll put the chapters in so you can just go right to your rising, right to your sun. So as always, in case you don't know, if you look at your rising sign, that's your natal chart, and it gives you a great picture of where this is happening in your natal chart. There could be some discrepancies with interceptions, but otherwise, and then if you're doing the sun sign part of it, that is your solar chart, and these two charts together give you a great understanding of what's happening for you at this eclipse and where some magic is happening. And there's 40,000 different interpretations of any one sign or planet and so forth. So realize that I'm called to channel certain things, but there's so many possibilities, and being in that possibility is what I really encourage, instead of being in like, I have the solution, I'm the predictive astrologer that's like knows the answer. It's like, actually that's not truth. That's stop. That's death. So all right, let's get into this, and I'm gonna pull some cards. I have my feather cards, and then I gotta get my ass moving because I gotta get to training. Actually, it's late. So all right, y'all. Aries. Let me just do this because this really fucking helped me last time. This was awesome, actually. Okay. Aries. So Aries, this eclipse is all about the value that you bring, your creativeness, like your products, your services, and your business. Realize that the light goddess here, it's all about divine feminine soulpreneurs. So I'm talking to all of you amazing women who are entrepreneurs, visionaries, and who are changing the world with what you're doing in your business and the impact you're bringing, right? So everyone else is welcome here too, but definitely that's where I'm focused. So Aries, this is about your products and services. This is about you realizing how important you are, that you matter, that you have something of value that you're bringing to this world, and valuing yourself finally. Like, are you valuing what you bring to the world, or are you letting approval from outside determine how much you value yourself? It's a really important question, Aries. And the Scorpio stellium is in your house of sex and the sacral chakra. The lower three chakras: personal power, the sacral, the creation energy, your ability to be procreative, and the deep root chakra of like, do I feel safe? And if you're in survival, then you're frozen in a lack of Taurus creation and valuing yourself and bringing the life energy. Taurus is the energy of life. It's the fresh green sprout, it's fresh green trees, it's the verdure, it's the flowers, it's that energy of life, of beauty, of love, of sustenance, of pleasure, of joy, food, all of those amazing tactile, sensual, sense-based things that we love. That is the whole point of being incarnated. Black Moon Lilith is asking you to stand in your power when it comes to being a leader and a performer and out in front, speaking your view and your expertise. Like, are you standing in the truth of your expertise? Pluto is asking you to revise and bringing up a lot of dismantling and transformation in your business specifically, and a lot of changes there. This Mars is a review in your mindset, perception of the world, like your handbooks for life, your handbooks for other people and what they should do and what they shouldn't, your handbook for yourself. I should. Look at all your shoulds and look at how that's always running in the background, making you wrong, making you bad. This is this deep reflection on this right now for 5 months. Are you going to come from soul and have some damn compassion for yourself and stop being violent with shoulds that don't allow you to be where you are, which means you can't actually get the transformation because you're not fully where you are first and allowing yourself to be there. Jupiter is offering you deep transformation and reconnection to soul and lots of emotions around it if you want it, related to some karmic stuff coming up, past life stuff coming up. There's the opportunity for sovereignty here. There's the opportunity for independence and for escape, for cutting away, from abusers, from relationships that don't serve you, from places where you're no longer growing. Really important. I'm going to pull you a card, Aries. Make a mission statement for your soul, but it's in a self-care message. Make a mission statement for your soul. This card, I really connect it to I like that whole exercise and idea, but the deeper meaning of the card is all about, like, are you in touch with the mission of your soul? Because our soul mission of our actual soul is about all the incarnations over time. Our soul mission is not something we're actually privy to for the most part, most people. But we do have a soul vision for this incarnation. And are you living that, or are you living somebody else's authority, Saturn, of what life is all about, what you should do or what you should be scared of? Are you living your own soul's vision? And with Jupiter there, Neptune there, giving in retrograde, giving you a chance to review, revise, and edit any past life situations that have got you stuck in this life, and to say no more, and to get out and to get disentangled, which means there's the breakdown, the Scorpio breakdown. There's trines to that Scorpio energy to to break down so you can be the phoenix that rises, or the butterfly that comes from the soup. There's this, it's the self-care message. Like, are you doing the deep internal reflection, or are you on the go constantly? Mars retrograde, it's not time to be on the go. This card just like really stood out. It's the starling. Now is the time to get out into the world and connect in authentic ways. And I was just talking about, like, are you on the go? And then I get the starling, and it's just all of these blues and greens, blues being the deep Neptunian energy, sadness, and greens being like nature and relaxation and connection to presence. And it's like authentic ways. Are you connecting in authentic ways? Are you connecting from a false self that was made based on whether you're going to be approved or not from someone else? Because that's what you base your reality upon. Deep stuff, Aries. All right. I think I'm going to do another card reading soon and post it because it's just so fun. I haven't been doing them lately. Taurus. So this eclipse being a lunar eclipse in your sign is in your first house of identity and character, your personality, the house of your soul, the temple of your soul. So your body, your connection to self, your deep embodiment. Is your soul truly embodied in the personality? Are they merged? Are they connected? Are they integrated? Is there incongruencies there? Who do you want to be? What's the self-modification coming? Like, what do you want to look like? What do you want to do? Like, what costumes do you want to put on? Can you let yourself grow and experiment and evolve? Because that's that Uranus energy of something different, change. There's an asking for change. An eclipse might cut away something. If you're not willing to change, it might be sudden, and it could provoke illnesses or things that provoke you into changing, because it strips away things. So, and especially with it being, opposite Scorpio and being in Scorpio season, which is all about illness and so forth. And so many people I know, got sick with the Scorpio eclipse. I got sick. It's a lot of people. So it's like these hidden things, Scorpio is what's hidden. And so if you're not a willing participant in change just might change you, bind you. So it's very much related to who you are in this world and how you self-express. And if you're willing to be adaptable, movable, to try things, experiment, to innovate, to not be dead set on a way of being in the world, and be more open to transformation of what could be. There's deep value systems that you always keep but here's the thing. It's like sometimes people are like, well, I have the value of honesty, or I have the value of these types of things. Let's just take honesty. There's situations where I'm not going to be honest, and I don't owe anybody honesty. I don't owe somebody fucking honesty. I don't owe somebody to be honest to them about what I really think and feel. That's mine. I may give somebody that if I desire to do so. And this is really something to look at in the first house of sovereignty and independence. You're being asked to transform Uranus and to completely have an awakening and illumination of your independence and your sovereignty and your autonomy, and to wake up into your own autonomous being, your own sovereign self that's unto herself, that's living her own values and purpose and resourcefulness, and knows her fucking value and owns it and claims it, takes up space in this world. And this Scorpio energy is in your relationships. And so your relationships, you're getting this opportunity to be loving still, but to transform relationships by standing your value, claiming that space, owning your who you are-ness, your value, and that it matters, and not prostrating to other people, not demurring, not deferring, not deflecting, not dismissing yourself, not discounting yourself. And so then relationships must transform then. And who's going to be left? Who's going to stay and who's going to go, and who's going to be just naturally cleared away. And thank God, right? And so thank deity. What if I just say thank deity and like make anybody think? Think goddess, which I like feel like that's so lame. I don't know, I don't like it. And Pluto is in your 9th house of, you know, changing your relationship to being the visionary, this kind of transformation of the vision quest of like the vision that you have all of these different mini things and how they can just completely turn into a soup to go into the burying ground and be fertilizer for this new vision that is going to bloom. Mars in your 2nd house is this deep internal reflection for 5 months of your value system and connecting to your resourcefulness and taking up space, owning that you matter, owning yourself as mattering in this world, the value that you bring, the light that you bring, and that square to Neptune in your 11th house, affecting all these people around you, glowing and building your audience, connecting to groups, awakening people just by being who you are, and just bringing this magic and this blooming, and Jupiter's expanding your connections, your friends, the people in your life, the groups, all of that. And so that's so amazing and something you've really wanted for a long time. And it's happening, Taurus. Black Moon Lilith and Leo is bringing this heart love energy to that home space and standing in your empowerment in your home within yourself, but also your home environment, external, the material plane, the home within your emotional seascape of love, laughter, giggles, excitement, fun, the romance of life, and that sensual fun, the pleasures. And, you know, Saturn is kind of awakening this 10th house of bringing back like the humanity to society again, humanity's values, versus Capricorn's control values, right? Let's pull you cards, Taurus. Oh, this is feeling really good. I've been wanting like a video to feel good for a while. I just haven't been feeling fucking good. I've been trying to get a lot of sleep, but it didn't work really for a while then. Moving will do that to you. Collaboration of souls. And I think it was in the self-care message reverse, that yin. So collaboration of souls, if it is in self-care, like, are you making sure that you take care of yourself first so then you can truly meet with other people in an authentic place within yourself, because you really can bring the energy and be fully there, present. So if you're feeling yourself not able to be fully present and not listening, it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just that simply doing, are you fully resourced yourself? What do you need? What food, sleep, you know, time to yourself, meditation, retreat, inner retreat time do you need to be able to then meet and collaborate with people in amazing ways? And what are the collaborations that can come? A lot of times you want to trade somebody and people just want to give you love for free, and allow that to come in, allow that to be there. What card wants to come through for you, Taurus? I'm trying not to pick one out because, like, sometimes it's just like me. My favorite card's the Robin. So I know what's going on here. So new growth and potential is on the horizon. Reach out and embrace it. So believe it, embrace it, be it, embody it. It's happening, Taurus. All right. Thanks, Graham. My grandmother is with me always, and she's spirit side, and yeah, so I'm a Taurus. If you don't know, I'm a Taurus stellium. The Scorpio season's actually super fun. So Gemini, this thing getting blown up, Gemini, this eclipse is in your 12th house. So yeah, it can be past life, and it can be a lot of karmic stuff coming up, and it can be a big purge. But since the moon's there, I really think it's illuminating what is from soul and heart, and how to love yourself, how to actually love yourself. This is really about deep self-love valuing yourself, valuing the insane, amazing beauty of that Gemini energy, curiosity, playfulness, youthfulness, and like how it just takes all these things and then puts it together, and then like here you go, it's this amazing cool thing. There's so much goodness there that's overlooked because the Gemini energy can be such a mental energy, but it's so powerful at making things happen that other people can't do like that, and really loving that. So this is about deep self-love and self-compassion coming in, and this illumination, this innovation to valuing yourself, this innovation to your self-perception, this innovation to your self-love, and money creation coming from this new value in yourself, and then you creating new value and amazing things in the world, products and services that are coming from this new sense of self that's based on deep self-compassion. The Scorpio energy in your 6th house is saying we're going to do schedules and work and our lifestyle and our life force energy differently, because it's going to be coming from this new definition of self-love, this new self-concept that's coming from a deep love of self that's so deep and true and authentic that it's from a transformation versus from trying to do it or the novelty or the concept of it, but rather from a deep transformation. That 12th house is illumination, this shock Uranus of this change for you. And Mars in your 1st house, square Neptune and Jupiter in your 10th house, your sacred mission, your business, with your identity. And so those things, it's like, is your true identity being expressed in your business? And is your business a reflection of the true identity based on this explosion of this self-compassion and self-concept that comes from true deep self-love at deeper levels than you've ever experienced before in your life, this opposition to the Scorpio energy? And Lilith is saying there's a new mindset here for you, that your empowerment needs to be based on playfulness and come from heart, a vulnerable energy, allowing yourself to be vulnerable and not thinking that there's something wrong with that. It does feel very kid-like sometimes to have our heart out there. It can feel almost like we're immature or very childlike, and it's allowing that to come through. We have enough distorted maturity in the culture that heart energy is not a lack of maturity. It's actually almost more maturity, because it allows itself to be vulnerable and knows that brings so much good. And yeah, so all right, Gemini, pull a card for you. This card keeps wanting to come out. So, okay, I got the cords of doubt, Gemini. So there's a lot of doubt coming up, and that's all about that 12th house. While it's this deep enlightenment, expansion, awakening, shock of self-concept coming from a deeply resourced place of self-love and self-value coming forward, which is valuing your Gemini parts of yourself and all of those parts of yourself. But there's also that, past life, insecurity, doubt, fear, or karmic stuff that you must go through it all the way, feel it, release it, go through it, ask for the messages to be able to get to that deep new self-concept, manifesting and doing, realizing that it's not just a doing, or how is the doing done? Is the doing done from an inspired place of joy, or is it done from a have to, culture says so, place? So that wanted to come up for you, and pull a feather card for you. And I'll just start picking the card that is asking to out. These cards don't want to come. So Canary, step forward now and sing your song. There is power. It's so cursive, I can't read it, but there's, it's this canary feather card. There is power in finding your own voice, and you'd think Gemini wouldn't have so much of a problem with finding your voice, but there's a lot of suppressed Gemini in Gemini suns. There is a lot of suppressed Gemini energy. And is it the distorted Gemini energy, or the unconscious Gemini energy, or is it the conscious dynamic expression of what we've talked about that is fun and powerful and beautiful. Intuitive is that spark of creative, curious energy. All right, Cancer. Here, I guess. Whatever. All right, Cancer. This eclipse for you is all about connection. It's about bringing your gifts out into the world, sharing them with other people. So are you sharing your gifts with other people? Are you bringing them out into the world? Are you standing in the Scorpio and letting the transformation happen of your leadership, of yourself as the performer, the one out front, the one on stage, the one speaking that has something to say, that has expertise to share, that matters, that's important, that something that you create from your own resourcefulness, from your own valuing of yourself is something that other people value and want to watch, and have that symbiosis of them valuing the contribution you're making, and that you are standing and connecting with other people and bringing your gifts forward to other people, sharing them, connecting to people, talking to people, getting out there and doing things. There's meetup, there's groups, there's so many different activities and groups and things that you can do, and to not be like so stuck in like being comfortable, be willing to break out of the comforts, to have that Uranus like awakening of the value of who you are connected to other people, really seeing like, do people value that, and seeing who doesn't, and just bouncing from that and seeing who does, and understanding how amazing that symbiosis is. The Scorpio energy wants to really deeply transform your romance with life, like your creative expression of yourself, your creative fuel, your realizing you have this value to bring forward, that you're deeply creative and inventive and performant. Is that a word? Like that you like have this drive to perform, and that there's this transformation, this death of the fear of performing and being in front, the fear of speaking in front of others, or being noticed, being looked at, being looked to as the leader, as the one, right? This Mars energy for 5 months is bringing up stuff from the depths, bringing up fears, bringing up doubts, bringing up insecurities, so they can be transformed into soul magic that you use to create massive gifts for the world, that you use to really stand in the truth of your expertise, to honor and value your own expertise and let that be received by other people. So there's a lot there, Cancer. I'm gonna pull you a card, Cancer. So you got the card, the distraction of shiny things, and a self-care message. A lot of self-care messages coming up for everyone. No surprise. The idealization of what you wish, the longings, that Neptune square Mars, the longing energy. Scorpio is that possession energy, like wanting to possess the longings instead of being real about what's truly here and what's not here. And okay, why do you desire that, and how, like, what's within you? How can you really get that need met in a reality based way, in that Taurus earth based way? And in the 11th house, like connections, this is awakening of how amazing and important connections is, and realizing what a resource people are to you and what a resource you are to others, which shows you your value as a human, which helps you then have more compassion to value others. It's kind of this amazing cycle that you really wake up to. In the self-care message, it's saying that there is this maybe not seeing the truth, maybe just in that wistfulness. Longing is an emotion that you actually can release, and there's a real technique to do that. You have Falcon, use your keen perception and skill in making decisions from that deeply intuitive Cancer place, and don't delay. Trust in your intuition, trust in your magic, Cancer. Okay. Leo, Leo, the Scorpio eclipse is in your 10th house of that sacred vision, the soul vision. I have bunnies loose in my house. Bunnies. I usually don't like slippery floors, but Meadow is venturing onto the slippery floor. So this is in your sacred vision, house of sacred vision, this illumination, this awakening of this new resource and value of yourself and your business. So this is about an upgrade. This is about an awakening. This is about higher quality of the magic that you bring, your products and services, an upgrade to your business, something expanding, something completely being completely innovating and being completely different, and realizing that that actually showcases who you are in such an amazing, more magical way. And the Scorpio energy in the 4th house of really having to get real and have a transformation of your emotions and face them and not suppress them and be with them and go through all of them, and really allowing for the comfort within yourself to be completely revolutionized and completely be broken down to change shape, so that there can be a new comfort that comes in that shows you the resource of who you are and the magic that so you can upgrade to that next level in your business and be this leader at an even higher level than ever before. This Mars energy in the 11th house is this energy of redoing, relooking, inner look at connections, groups, your audience, how you're doing that, the square to Neptune and Jupiter in the 8th house of that sexual energy of creation and the lower 3 chakras, and the deep transformation of connections, why you connect, how you connect, what's it coming from? Soul? Is it coming from vibe? Is it coming from control and power issues and struggles and dynamics there? Old subconscious places from childhood. There's really a rebirth opportunity there. All right, let's pull you a card, Leo. What wants to come forward? Okay. This card wants to come forward. Balance. So you got the Libra balance, but it's in a self-care message. So realize that balance is not the same as equal. You don't brush your teeth as much as you sleep and so on. And so it's not that everything needs to be balanced. It's that balance is something that you feel, when you're off and when you're on, when you need more sleep. Like, are you listening to the things that help you to be a fully resourced woman? Balance is about making sure that you have as much time playing as you have working, not equal time necessarily, but enough so you feel resourced. Balance is about that. This card wants to come forward. The Blue Jay. So the time is right to access and master your abilities, and do so with humility, do so with control. That deep humility of that Neptunian energy, that Pisces energy, the expansion of Jupiter there, reviewing our belief systems. And the Blue Jay is about deep independence and autonomy and sovereignty. All right, so Virgo. So really cut down some time a little bit. I'm gonna have to put this video out later because I gotta get going. But Virgo, this Taurus eclipse for you, this full moon is in your 9th house. So it's definitely this vision quest. It's an awakening of a new vision. It's an illumination of the visions before that you had, your idea of the way things should be, your thinking of the shoulds in your life, the things you think you should do, the way you think life should be, the vision that you held for your business or yourself is now asking to have a new illumination, a new awakening, and that Uranus is offering you something, possibly changes, shifts, massive upgrades and up levelings of really understanding the resource of your own expertise, standing in that expertise, believing in it, standing in a position as a leader and a visionary, and understanding that visionary quality. And so this is really this opportunity for understanding this greater vision, this awakening to yourself as this visionary leader, helping others to inspire and spark their vision quest for them. The Scorpio energy is about a complete death and rebirth of your thinking, your mind, your perception, how you see things, which is what will allow you to have this awakening and this new vision for your business, your life, yourself as a leader, which will allow you to be the spark that awakens visions for other people and sparks their visionary self to come online. And that amazing thing we do, right, as inspirers, which is not a word, as people who spark inspiration. This Mars is deeply going through your house of sacred vision, of that soul vision that you came here to create, to be, to do. And so there's a deeper view of that in all of these amazing ways. And the square to your 7th house of relationships related to you and relationships. So it's about new relationships. It's about changes there. It's about awakenings, longings, about sadnesses, hurts, wounds, waking up to deeper and deeper compassion. Often the wounds and the hurts really open us to more humility and compassion, and standing in a greater power that comes from humility and a healed ego, or a healthy ego, rather than a wounded ego, which really is always trying to control and dominate and have power over or manipulate. And so this card is creator alchemy, realizing the creator that you are, that you're not trying to get it from some source outside yourself, like asking the multiverse for help or asking some deity for help, but realizing you create, which can sometimes be meaning go through the fear of realizing just how free you actually are, just how liberated and truly free you are. I wrote this amazing poem tonight about freedom. Like, I choose freedom above all. I choose freedom. And it's in the self-care message. So it's asking you to be fully resourced, to be able to be that creator, to be able to take on fear and handle it. Like, what do you do with fear? What's your techniques? How are you dealing with that when it comes up? Realizing PTSD response versus PTSD, really different things. Realizing that there are so many thousands of methods and tools and techniques to care for yourself and to move through things. You have the bluebird, and it's like you're being gifted with blessings of happiness and peace. That bluebird energy, the eastern bluebird with the red breast, would always like sit on the fence in my grandma's garden. They would. And there's just like blessings of happiness and peace. I don't know, how can it get better than that? What is the definition of that for you? Like, are you recognizing it when it happens? Are you in too much that Virgo analytical place and not recognizing the blessings of peace and happiness and reveling in them, being in presence? Scorpio season is about presence, because if we can't be with what is, then it can't transform. We're just stuck, and we're in that frozen fixed water, right? Where emotions aren't flowing, they're stuck. Okay, Virgo. So what's after Virgo? That one sign with the scales. Libra. So Libra, this eclipse is all about your 8th house of sex and death and transformation and deep dark things. And it's really about this initiation into yourself as a leader, into this next section of life. For Libra, this is an initiation into a new way of being in the world, a new way of thinking about yourself, because it's Taurus, of valuing yourself completely, coming from a Uranus, completely different, out of the box, unheard of for you in your life place that you've never touched before. That Scorpio, that deep dark, from the dark comes the fertilizer of everything decaying and breaking down. So this is an amazing opportunity for a complete awakening and transformation of you owning the resource that you are, taking up space in this world, claiming and standing in the value of who you are, and allowing this initiation into this new being, this new way to be in the world. And how that Scorpio is in that opposite house of money and self-love. So transformation and rebirths in that area, right? So amazing. This Mars is going through this deep exploration of the gypsy traveler part of yourself, the part of you that wants to shoot arrows in all directions and understand things and try things and looking for the deep, like this is what it isness of life, when really it's about what you want it to be, what's true for you. It's not that there is some right dogma, some right method or way. It's actually your truth, and can you actually be connected to that and value it and live it and embody it, embrace it? Like, can you believe and value your truths as mattering and important, and stand in them, embodied and embracing them? A square to Jupiter, your belief systems, and around wanting to be organized, around wanting to be having a certain type of lifestyle, giving yourself the space and grace to reconfigure and recalibrate that whole new lifestyle and organization and way of being, and really define organization for yourself when you feel good. That Libra craves balance, but remember, balance is not equality, not two things being equal. It's when you feel solid, when you feel grounded, when you feel good. What makes you feel grounded? Start keeping a list in your phone of everything that makes you feel grounded, so that you can just start really developing, cultivating this understanding of what makes you feel balanced, so that you can do schedules and routines and day-to-day life and organization in a way that supports you and helps you to stand in your expertise as a visionary leader and pop out the other side of this Mars next year, next January, next March, as a really empowered whole new Libra here, awakened from this. All right, let's pull you a card, Libra. Oh, it's getting cold in my house. I know I turned the air down, but whatever. Get back to the elemental. So this is a deep time. It is, coming upon winter. It is this autumn, end of autumn, autumnal time. Getting back to the elemental, the basics, sleeping when you need sleep, being fully resourced from within, soups and foods that make you feel good and comfortable. Nourish the sacred feminine is this card that flew out for you, Libra. So you're being called to get back to, baths and the earth, and grounding, and your feet's on the earth, and your sunshine on your face, and having the moments to daydream and watch the clouds pass, so that so much can be renewed within. You have the Oriole about a new creative venture is on the horizon, which we've talked about. See it as positive, see change as positive, really revising your definition of change. All right, Libra. Scorpio. For you, this eclipse is deeply about relationships, and then opposite that, Venus in your house of identity. So there's this juxtaposition between your identity changing and shifting and transforming, and so transforming into something that's more real and authentic and truly you, and that's just not pulling any punches, that's just really being this sovereign, embodied, powerful woman, this personal power, this regaining of your personal power. And this eclipse is going to be illuminating relationships and maybe shock and cutting away relationships that don't serve you, that there's no growth, asking you to change in relationships, lest they be transformed or leave. And there's partnerships and relationships to your own. There's so much snot and things coming through me. So perfect to happen on Scorpio. Your relationship to love, your relationship to your self-worth, your relationship to your products and services and your business, to yourself, to standing in your value, to valuing yourself, to what you bring to this world. What is your relationship to your business? Do you have a lot of shoulds? Do you have a lot of have tos? And do you want to live by those anymore and let those float around in the back of your consciousness, causing you to behave in ways that aren't from that true, authentic first house identity of who you really want to be from deep in the depths of your soul? Because it's a clarification of everything that just doesn't serve you, and that's just not fucking important. Like, are you going to stand in your value in relationships and stop hiding and stop being so in that survival mode? Allow yourself to be broken down, and realize that nothing breaks down that isn't in service to soul, that is important. Nothing breaks down that is not, what am I trying to say here? It's like in pictures, but it's like, can I put it into words here? It's like, it's the ego stuff that breaks down. It's the places where you have lack of humility. It's the places within you that are not in service to the true value of who you are and the amazingness of who you are, Scorpio. So this Mars in the 8th house of sex, of that sacral chakra of creation, of initiation. So this Mars is going through this deep 5-month reflection on the initiation of your true authentic self, with this square to your 5th house of leadership and coming from soul. Like, is your leadership, is your expertise, is your, playfulness and love and romance with life, are you in that state at all? Are you allowing for that? Are you allowing for that because that Scorpio wants to hide and is so in survival? There's this deep dive here that's offering you this chance to choose the romance of life that comes from soul and spirit, and the authenticity and that true self to come forward. So there's really some massive change afoot for you, and reconnection to your magic and valuing yourself, and really getting that fixed water, that ice, to break up and move into water vapor and liquid water and transform. So meet with the dark goddess to see what wants to come forward. Unstick the stuck, Scorpio. So I was just saying, that fixed water, that ice, wants to unfreeze and move. And sometimes it's trying many different things to get that to move. This card just wants to come forward. It's the duck. Find comfort and balance in simple ways. You have support all around you. So really connecting into the support that you have, that may be invisible support, your guides, the multiverse, things unseen, maybe ancestors, spirit. And so also realizing maybe the support that is easily overlooked because it's taken for granted, because it's just always there. So something to think about. Sag. All right. So many signs. I just want to get to training. I want to go play and go flip upside down. Sag. I haven't learned how to shut it down and then restart it later yet. There's got to be a way, but I'm like, no, mess it up. I don't want to do that. Okay, so Sag, this eclipse is happening for you in your 6th house of of lifestyle and life force energy. It's really this awakening into like really being connected to the real life that you actually want. Are you living that vision now in your day-to-day? What is your day-to-day life like? Your schedule, your routines? Is it reflecting the life you truly want to live? Is it reflecting your value system? Is your value system antiquated and based on the status quo? There's a big awakening, a big shift, a cutting away of the old ways, which might be forced upon you, or maybe you're going after it yourself. So the Scorpio in the 12th house is transforming past life karma and wounds and issues that are holding you back from living your vision now and thinking that, like, what are you supposed to live this program of society? Or are you here in this incarnation to live this experiment and do whatever the fuck you want and try things and live a real life? And are you coming from soul? Like, this Scorpio is offering you this deep transformation of relationships and your perceptions to revise and edit, to come from soul and heart. Is it coming from there, or is it coming from wounds? It's something that's important to ask yourself. This Mars is deeply going through relationship revision, deep inner reflection, and asking you to really get settled in a deeply self-loving, nurturing idea of self, home, other people, your comforts, what supports you and makes you feel comfortable, and like being really loving about that, allowing, like maybe you have too many shoulds of how you're supposed to supposedly be, that you're not allowing yourself to revise your comfort zones, to come from a place that supports you truly, having relationships that are of soul and heart. Like, there's some big revisions and edits going on, and they're deep, and some of them are unconscious and nonverbal, and some things won't necessarily be so obvious at first. Some of it might be very clear. Lilith is asking you to stand in the truth, the empowered truth of yourself, as of your expertise as a leader, as a visionary, on the leading edge, leading humanity, but from a place of play and love and light, and that being willing to be vulnerable, not equating vulnerability with weakness. This card wants to come forward for you. Unstick the stuck, Sag. So you got the same card as Scorpio. Unstick the stuck. What is stuck within you? Where are those fixed water places where you haven't felt the emotions, where things aren't moving, where you don't think anything will ever change? And let this Uranus provoke. It's going to provoke and change and spark lightning in your routines and your day-to-day. It's probably not going to be able to have things line up, things stay on schedule. Your schedule probably won't keep, that people are going to cancel, shift around, people are going to be doing things. So just expect a lot of change and be willing to be curious about it all, because that's going to help a lot. Your mutable sign anyways, so you do thrive on that. You got the Robin about new growth and potential is on the horizon. So like embrace it, like reach out to that new growth and potential. And what is that fixed part of you? What is the stuck part of you? Is it emotions you need to feel and release? Is it perceptions and mindsets that are stuck in old distorted Saturn places? All right, Capricorn. This eclipse for you is about your leadership and about coming from play and heart, and it's about really owning yourself, the values, what you create in this world, your products, your services, like really valuing the uniqueness of you, how you're truly have amazing unique insights, that what you can accomplish, what you can make happen and get done, like valuing that, understanding where it fits with other people and how there can be a symbiosis there, how there can be the appreciation from others with bringing the magic that you bring, and really aware of that. There's going to be like illumination here and a provocation of a greater, deeper connection to the contributions you bring to us, an awakening to realizing them, possibly bringing an upgrade to what you bring to your leadership can really upgrade at this eclipse. Something is dying, and it could simply be the perception of the value you bring to upgrade for a whole new perception of how amazing you are and what you bring to the world. The Scorpio is in your 11th house of connections, the gifts that you bring, people, your audience building. And so there is this transformation wanting in relationship to your perceptions around relationships, around beauty and love and heart, and your deep desires with people, friendships, collaborations, and allowing things to shift and change and be different, and for things to cut away and to just let go of expectations, because that's what's going to really help you a lot. Let go of your rule book, allow your rule book to be transformed, and think about that you get to create the laws you live by, if you want to live by any at all, and usually you do. So there's this Mars going through a deep revision of your day-to-day life, the lifestyle you lead. Are you really connected to your health and your life force energy to make everything happen that you always push to make happen? There's a deeply emotional time. You're being asked to really feel the emotions you feel around your audience, around connections with other people, to feel feelings with friends and people and humanity, and let that be okay. And having this deep soul revision to your perceptions, there's this opportunity for that. There's this opportunity to really change living the real vision of the lifestyle that you truly deeply desire, based on changing your perceptions to ones that are driven by soul rather than the overculture's view, other people's ways, the shoulds of life. So really examining those shoulds, Capricorn. I'm gonna pull you a card. This card came right out. Fierce serenity in the self-care message. So there's something that you're needing to accept so that it can be transformed. And so if you're not accepting something, if you're not being real about it, if you're not allowing what is, or the emotions that you're having to be there and feeling emotions all the way through, then there can be no serenity, and then therefore there can be no transformation. So self-care is like, what are the things that would bring you to a place that you can surrender and be present with what simply is. You got the Loon, which is like, pay attention to your dream time, which is really apropos. Messages of guidance are drifting in. So like, I keep getting this message for you of taking a bath and just being, and just letting your head like kind of sit in the water, and listening and hearing, listening for the messages of your guides. All right. Aquarius, this eclipse is happening in your house of deep comfort zones. Are you really stuck in old ways, old patterns, not realizing how resourceful you are, that you can make shit happen, that you know how to do things, that you'll figure it out, that you're innovative as hell, you're inventive, you're crazy wild? Are you letting yourself be the crazy weirdo rebel amazing person with all of these ideas? And if people ever admonish you for that, that's not your people. Do the Aquarius thing and disconnect, and connect to the people that value that, and find the groups and the places where that fits in and it works and it flows, and people value the amazingness that you bring. And there's something about really valuing who you are that's going to allow you to redefine your comfort zones and allow this awakening, which could be shock, and it could dismantle some things at home, shift living environments, really bring a lot of emotions to the forefront, awaken a lot of old fixed emotions that you haven't dealt with, that really are around like, do you believe in yourself being able to handle anything? There's a lot of Scorpio transformation coming in your business, connection to that soul vision. A transformation for you there is welcome, for you to really hold space for what wants to be birthed through you, this amazing business, the next transformation, the next upgrade, the next up leveling, really holding space for that. allowing, listening, being present with that. This Mars energy is doing a deep review for 5 months of your leadership, and are you allowing for play? Are you letting yourself be creative and express creatively, or trying to color in the lines? It's a really important question to consider. And it's wanting you, the square to Neptune is like wanting you to value yourself and have new understandings of self-concept based on soul, based on something more meaningful and deeper of purpose. This card really wants to come up like, celebrate your wins. Like, are you acknowledging all the amazing things that are good, that happen, that you do, that you accomplish? And it's in a self-protection message, meaning that you're really not turning the volume up on that enough, and maybe the volume is way too high on what you supposedly do wrong or faults, etc. So this card wants to come up for you. The Blackbird, the magical and unique qualities of your untapped potential are unfolding now. And it's really what I was talking about, is the magic and the uniqueness of who you are, that maybe it was never okay for you to be weird, but that, are we just going to live in a homogenized world, everybody wearing like Birks and gray jumpsuits? I mean, fuck that technocratic apocalyptic bullshit. I don't want to live in that world. I'm not creating that world, period. I'm not living in that world. So, all right, Aquarius, Pisces. So Pisces, for you, this eclipse is in your house of your perception of the world. Like, how do you perceive the world? Like, what do you value? What do you think is important? Has that been based on somebody else's value system, and for how long? And is it time to finally value your own value system that comes from deep within your own heart, that's based on believing in what you create in this world, the uniqueness of you, your amazing magic, what's special and beautiful about you, your heart, what you see that other people don't see, the amazing things you put together, and really being deeply in touch with that ethereal and that other place. The Scorpio is transforming yourself as an expert, as a leader. There's a new vision coming down the pipe, and it's including this deep initiation into yourself as this visionary expert, standing in the power of your expertise, standing, valuing self, really understanding the resource of who you are, the resource of ourselves in humanity, that we all are to each other, raising humanity, that humanity, it's time we evolved, instead of this constant devolving we've been doing for so many years. And this Mars is revising comfort zones for you. It's a deep dive into comfort zones and asking if your identity is coming from a deep place of soul, or if it's coming from other people's opinions or what you should be. There's a deep review there. There's questions there's choices. There's a lot of experimental possibilities. Is there like a karmic way that you're being who you are from karmic places, from subconscious childhood places? Or is your soul really in your identity and expressed in the world, and the magical creative being that you are coming forward? Lilith is asking you to bring the play in your day-to-day life, and bring the inner child and connect to that it's like one of the most important things that's going to allow you to be really embodied in your personal power. Pisces, what does your soul say? Exactly what I was saying. What does your soul say about everything you do, especially about the who you are-ness of life at the moment, of yourself at the moment? What feather card wants to come forward for you? I have like so much snot that came up in this video. The owl wants to come forward for you. Your intuition is correct. Follow your inner wisdom without fail. I think just like really hammer on that point. Really like let that roll around your consciousness, Pisces. So important. All right, y'all. Please like this video if you liked it. Sending you so much love. Happy, amazing eclipse and this season, this whole new 6 months. So much is happening in this 6 months. It's going to be a different world next year, January and March, particularly. I am so excited. All right, sending you lots of love. Peace out.